Dubai developers will sell you and another buyer the same exact apartment and charge you 500,000 dirhams more. Same apartment, building, floor and the view. And before you think you got scammed, you technically didn't. In fact, you probably walk away believing you got a great deal. Because one thing most buyers never realize is this: the price on the brochure isn't always the real price you're paying. The payment plan can completely change what you end up spending. Low down payment, easy monthly installments, pay after handover, all of it sounds great. But what if those conveniences are costing you hundreds of thousands of dirhams? And here's the scary part, you might never even know you're paying it. By the end of this video, you'll know how to figure out the exact cost of a payment plan in under 1 minute. And I'm going to show you the 4 tactics developers use to hide that cost. And the 4th one is the one I think catches the most buyers. Tactic number 1, the post-handover premium. Let's start with a real example. A studio apartment in Jumeirah Village Circle. The cash price of it is 500,000 dirhams. Now take that same studio onto a standard payment plan. Same unit, same floor, same building. The price becomes 595,000 dirhams. Nothing changed except how you pay. Now let's stretch part of that balance for over 2 years post-handover. The price becomes 685,000 dirhams. That's 37% more for the same exact apartment. And this is where buyers make a mistake. Because most people stop comparing purchase prices now. They start comparing monthly payments. The developer knows that. Once your attention shifts from price to affordability, the premium becomes much easier to hide. I've seen buyers spend weeks negotiating a lower down payment without ever negotiating the purchase price itself. Tactic number 2, the guaranteed return trap. The next one is a buyer favorite, guaranteed returns. 10% guaranteed, no tenant required, income from day one. Sounds fantastic until you ask a different question. What would this property cost without the guarantee? Let's take a studio in Dubai Land residential complex. The asking price for it is 950,000 dirhams in full cash. The guarantee pays 10% per year for 2 years. That's 190,000 dirhams handed back to you. Now it looks great, then you find comparable studios in the same area selling for 760,000 dirhams. Suddenly, the guarantee doesn't look like free money anymore. It looks suspiciously similar to your own money being handed over back to you over time. Now that's not always the case, but it's a question every investor should ask. Because the guaranteed return isn't valuable if you already paid for it upfront. And before anyone says that this means all payment plans are bad, that's not what I'm saying. I've bought off-plan properties myself, and sometimes paying a premium for flexibility completely makes sense. Sometimes though, keeping your cash invested elsewhere is worth far more than the premium you're paying. The problem isn't paying extra. The problem is not knowing you're paying extra. Because you can't decide whether something is worth it until you know what it costs. Tactic number 3, launch phase anchoring. The 3rd tactic happens before you even see a payment plan. It happens at launch. And I want to be clear about something. This isn't one project. I've seen this play out across master community projects in multiple areas with several of the top developers in the market. Phase 1 launches at 1400 dirhams per square foot. It sells out fast. People start talking about it. The project becomes hot. Then phase 2 launches at 1650 dirhams per square foot, and buyers still feel like they're getting in early because they're comparing today's price to the developer's previous price, not to the actual market. Meanwhile, comparable properties nearby might be trading for 1500 dirhams per square foot, which means buyers aren't getting in early, they're paying a premium because they've been anchored to the number the developer created. That's one of the most powerful tricks in real estate. You start comparing against reality and you start comparing against the story. Tactic number 4, the interest-free markup. And this is the one I think catches the most buyers because developers rarely call it interest. They call it flexibility or an extended payment plan or 0% interest. Let's look at a real example. A 1-bedroom apartment in Jumeirah Garden City. Now the standard payment plan price is 2.12 million dirhams. Now if you extend that payment plan for 2 years post handover, the price becomes 2.4 million dirhams. Nothing changed except the payment schedule, and this isn't isolated to one developer, by the way. I've seen the same structure across several tier 1 developers in this market. The longer you defer payment, the more you pay. The difference is that a bank would usually show you the cost separately. A developer often builds it into the purchase price. Now this is the question that nobody asks. How much more am I paying for this payment plan? That's it. Take the cash price and take the payment plan price. The gap between them is your answer. Under 1 minute, every time. Not the monthly installment, not the down payment, not whether if it's a 0% interest plan. Because once you know that number, the entire conversation changes. If the premium is 50,000 dirhams, maybe it's worth it. If it's 300,000 dirhams, maybe it isn't. But now you're making an informed decision. Most buyers ask, can I afford this payment plan? The better question is, what is this payment plan actually costing me? Because affordability and value are not the same thing. Let's go back to where we started. You paying 500,000 dirhams more, not because you bought the wrong apartment, not because it was bad negotiation, not you getting taken advantage of. The only difference was how you chose to pay. That's what makes this tactic so powerful. You research locations, developers, floor plans, amenities for months, then sign a payment plan without calculating what it actually costs you. The overpayment isn't always in the apartment, it's in the financing wrapped around it. Once you see payment plans that way, you won't ever look at them the same again. The cheapest way into a property is not always the cheapest property. Before you compare payment plans, compare the premium, because chasing affordability and buying value are two very different things. And in the next video, I will show you how I evaluate a developer before I trust their payment plan, their brochure, or their sales pitch. See you there.